COVID has been awful in some ways and also been helpful in some ways. I don't even know if I can say helpful, but I don't know. It's been good in certain circumstances. So we're going to click over live to Nathan in Manly and look at something that's rebirth out of COVID.
Absolutely.
So what do we got, Nate? What do we got?
Well, first off, good morning. And we're going to apologise for the technical difficulty that's drawn us to start a little bit later than normal, but that's never stopped us before. I'm actually really pumped. I'm pumped this morning. It's probably from the second coffee as well, but I'm here in Manly. Yes, it's looking a little bit of a gloomy day, but doesn't spoil the mood. So last year I had the incredible opportunity of leasing out quite a number of retail spots in the outer parts of Manly. And not a lot of people can say that, especially because we did a lot of people got impacted by COVID. You know, we had incredible highs and we had incredible lows. And you can even see that, like, for yourself. I mean, even prior to me even entering the real estate industry, you would have seen it already kicking in. And I more or less started during the middle of it all, during the hype. 194 Pittwater Road, Manly is where I'm at, and you can see from the signage behind me, the business is called Sampa. Now, believe it or not, in Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, Sampa means Brazil. And so this business here is an incredible Brazilian restaurant that they're also exploring morning options, so brekkie and lunch. You've got people walking through, which is amazing. And then they also were pumping at the initial takeaway food as well.
So I guess a big thing that we were talking about off air was COVID's changed the way people do stuff. It's changed the way restaurants operate, where they operate, how, when, where, just everything. That it's remorphed, and it seems like the neighbourhood retail strip has become a lot more lucrative than the mall hubs. You know, all the busy strips people have sort of gone away from, and they've gone to the sort of neighbourhood retail stuff, which is where you are.
Yep, absolutely. And when you deconstruct that, when you look at it for the bigger picture, of course, there's still a ton of people that are still operating from home. And that's probably due to personal preference, or it's how the business that they're working for has molded to adapt to the environment that we're in now. And in doing so, people don't really want to travel down to the city centre hubs that they know that aren't as busy, and they're not bustling as they were before. They want to go down to those local corners. They want to support local business, and that's the beauty of seeing all these businesses start to open up around me. And I'm just swinging the camera around all these other shops all along there. All of them are still active. That business that's right behind me there, still active, still going strong. And this is the trend I think we'll continue to see. It's these businesses maximizing on the way other businesses have grown and other businesses have morphed. And it's an incredible way to look at rebirth in retail.
So the previous business really just relied on night trade. So they relied on alcohol sales, they relied on night trade. This business is different. So this business is sweating the asset. They're doing breakfast, they're doing lunch, they're doing dinner, they're doing 7 days a week. It sounds like a bloody hard gig.
It's a hard gig, and it's the strategy a lot of new businesses have had to realistically explore. You know, if you're going to survive in this climate, you really have to break away from the norms of your typical, you're looking at your 5 to your potentially 10 o'clock operating, probably stretching it till 11, but the crazy thing is now we're moving towards a morning period, not closing for lunch like a lot of restaurants would before. A lot of people would stick to that. So Nathan's on his way to Hollywood. Thank you very much, Jeff. I'm trying to, mate. It's the pearly whites and it's the slick hair back. But it's breaking away from the norms and the trend, and it's utilizing online services as well. And it's something we've touched on before in another video you and I have done. Online services is huge.
So I guess the previous business didn't have the ability to do a bar online, your hands are tied. So again, to sweat the asset, this business as a bus. This business is open 3 times longer than the previous business, and then on the fourth axis, it's also doing deliveries as well. So it's a completely different business. Is retailing is completely different to what it used to be. You just look at this shop.
Yeah, it's the Rebirth introduces it to a whole different breed of animal. And you know what? I think what makes me really happy is I actually want to show you how incredible this property turned out to be. Alrighty, so I'm actually going to swing the camera around. We're going to go for a quick walkthrough. I'm going to pinpoint some really interesting parts about it. So from the
I want to see the menu.
Oh, there's actually a menu outside. I'll show you in just a tick. But what's really cool is they've kept the traditional look of the building, and it's just a matter of utilizing the glass frontage to perfection, clean, nice and tidy, and then you've got the logo up the top there, which is really cool. Menu wise, they've actually been courteous enough to stick it on the front here, and so you've got your sandwich menu, which looks pretty extensive, and then they push over
these days.
Really, sandwiches are big these days. Chicken and mushroom roll, steak and vinaigrette roll. I'm all about that one. But they're big on their pizzas, and this is something that we were exploring when we were bringing this idea to life. It was introducing all sorts of pizzas, Brazilian-made pizzas. It's pretty cool. But let's continue on because it's looking pretty groovy in here. So, like I said, it's definitely kept to its the same architectural build. Look at that! Like that's awesome.
What does that say?
Sao Paulo, there, and it's Sampa is slang for the city of Sao Paulo in Brazil. So they're giving a little bit of a deeper dig into the background of.
Makes me want to go to Brazil with this place.
It really does, doesn't it? Then you've got obviously some really nice pastries these all get prepared from 6 a.m. in the morning. You've got the chef that comes in, starts digging along in the kitchen, and then you've got the beautiful, but they've kept the original bar that was here from the original occupants and just decked it out real nice and fancy. Lighting, ceiling's been repainted. It's definitely lit up really nicely. I've got my coffee sitting in the corner.
So what's your coffee? Now, Nikki said, good on these guys, not relying on the rewards of the government, getting in there in tough times. It's for someone to go in there and do that sort of trade, that sort of business. I actually don't think there's a harder business in Australia than opening a food business. I think it's 100%. Absolutely, with staffing, it's been very hard. With COVID opening times and closing and stuff it's been very hard. Hats off to these guys. The best thing we can do as a community is to support and shop with these guys as much as we can. Now, Nate, these guys took over the tenancy and have done what they're doing. Was it as expensive? Did that they adopted a lot of the old premises because it looks pretty fancy, like the way it's lit up and everything there. But did they adopt a lot of the old stuff that was there from the previous tenancy?
They definitely adopted that bar that we saw that they now run through as the cafe, and I'm assuming then come the night period or lunch and night period, that's where they'd be able to serve drinks from, alcoholic beverages and things like that, because this property does in fact have a liquor license from the original occupants. Where are you, Mark?
I've just moved. Can you show me again? Because I just want to see that. Can you go sideways? Nah.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's heaps better. That's great. So
that's
can you show
right?
that's so what's in the can you show us in the fridge there? What's in the fridge?
So fridge wise, pastries, you've actually got these really wicked cakes. You've got these awesome donuts, cupcakes. They've even started to now brand some of the desserts they're also doing in-house, which is really cool. So it's a big push. That is definitely a traditional right there. Look, I'm South American background myself, and I mean Brazilians, and Portuguese, they're a little bit on the outside as far as South Americans go, but we've got a dessert dish that's almost very similar to that.
Yep.
And then we come up top here, and there's a few more Desserts.
It looks
These
fine. Oh,
are,
and bananas, they're hard to find.
I know, these things are really hard to find. They're going to be bringing out some fresh ones shortly. So that's why they've got this tray section here all ready to rock. And then you'll see based on...
What a great story.
And that's the bar there. Now this bar was here from before.
Yep.
So they definitely kept it, given it a nice spruce, give it a nice lift. And I like as well how they've utilised the back wall to actually market their product, because all this was bare. That corner, that corner section there was bare. But I'm going to be a bit cheeky and go, the outside's not quite finished yet. They more or less are still working on bits and pieces to bring it to life. But even still, the green's just bringing it a whole new different feel. And you've got the kitchen back here, and he's pumping away. He's hard at work. How are you, mate? Hey. So in that oven in the back there, you can definitely see that there's some empanadas going on in there. So swing back around. So it's just absolutely incredible to see that.
What a great story. Now tell me, from a commercial point of view, the landlord, did they end up, when the tenancy left and the new tenancy came in, did they was it vacant for long?
Yeah, well, look, that's the reality of it. We were looking at a vacancy of about 8 months, and it was because of the fact that we were literally creeping up and peaking into COVID so much in 2021. We were right about here. But then at the same time...
6 months. 6 months, 8 months total. But I think there was a bit of transition between owners and stuff as well. So did it rent for more money or less money from what it was getting previously?
Much more money. Wow. And it was about highlighting... because of the fact that the business that operated here actually had created a little bit of a legacy in the community. You know, a lot of people would know this building for what it was before and called it that regardless. And so now it's growing from that, it's molding from its original, and it definitely gave much more incentive for people to want to come here. And it was all about as well, there was not really anything else like this out there. To have a property that's got a kitchen, it's got front there for restaurant use. You've got a back area as well that you can use to have your patrons in. You can see the hard work, you can see the dedication that's going in it, and we're far from over. This is just the beginning for these guys. And they officially opened up their doors for indoor seating. It was last week on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. And so they're hard at work. They're here to make a difference, and it's all about people like us supporting them. And I think as well, if the owner would look at something like this and be stoked. It's like, you know what? Yes, it was vacant for that point in time, but you can see now that there's people that really love it. I love it too.
Yep. And with retail leases, owners normally have to give a bit of a rent-free period. So was that rent-free for 3 months for those guys?
Correct. That's typically the norm when it comes to a retail lease. We're factoring in things like, you know, going down the route of a DA. For instance, if it's to do with signage and things like that, then fit out takes a bit of time too. And it's just as well because I mean this is such a big transition. Morning, Animal. Thank you for joining.
Morning, Emma.
This is a big deal for people. This becomes their livelihood. This isn't a, like what people would say in the slang way, a side hustle. They're investing all their time, all their efforts and energy into this. So it's that 3 months is for them to not just physically prepare, but I also think mentally prepare as well. Staffing, organise their staffing. That hasn't been easy. And it's funny because I came here last week. I had the conversations with them. I'm geeing them up, seeing how they're going. And they said, Nathan, one of the most difficult things for us has been staffing. It hasn't been easy because there's almost like an expectation that people now have set when it comes to going into a property, for instance, or going to start in a new business. And they said, we're just trying to find some honest people, honest, hardworking people that want to join. And I said, look, you know what? When I can do things like this, jump on a camera with you and help them even market their business, it's just every little bit helps.
Yeah, look, it's good for Manly. It's you know, Brazilians. It looks quite dynamic where they've done They're opening for breakfast. You don't think of Brazilians opening for breakfast. Lunch looks great with their. You did have some competition on that property, by the way, guys and girls. There was a famous bagel company that were trying to secure the premises. There was 2 other tenancies. Out of interest, this property, from a real estate point of view, 194 Pittwater Road, traded for about $3 million. It had a shop at the front, a residence. Do you reckon you can sneak down the side of the residence?
Oh, do you know what? They've actually they've locked that section
They've locked
off
it.
there.
So you can always Google.
Could...
You can Google aerial it, guys and girls. 194 Pittwater Road, and it's got a residence in between, which is a 2-bedder, and the back was a garage. But
I think we might leave that one, sorry, for another time, by the way.
We'll
but
leave that for another time. The happy story is the landlord ended up getting 3 rentals instead of 2 rentals out of his $3 million investment. Spent a little bit of money on it, but it's a great story. It was a hard story for the outgoing tenants. Slightly, the owner resulted in selling the property, but it's a good story for the new tenants that have gone in, new energy, and it's a good story for the new buyer. They've invested in so many ways and are making some coin, some grinding it out, and making some coin out of it now. So there is a great real estate story for everyone. Nathan, you were between. I think Michael from our office was involved. You were involved. James from our office was involved. I was involved. There's a lot of energy that's gone into this place.
Definitely. And you know what? It's funny. Like we mentioned before, about 6 to 8 months of it being vacant, all of a sudden it came to the very end, the crunch of it all. And it's like we all, in a way, generated such a big interest near that end phase. And it was just like, it was who's going to take it? Who wants it the most?
Yeah.
Go. And which resulted in something quite magical, and everyone was happy in the end. And that's what it's all about as well. It's about everybody being happy in the end.
And you know what? It sounds a bit cheesy, but the community's the winner. Because there's hundreds of people a day that are in and out of their local, enjoying the the food and the bev in that place. So well done. Congratulations to Manly. Well done to Sampa, the landlord, to you guys. Giddy up.
Giddy up.
Anything else to say, superstar?
Whew. I think we're gonna have to start filming a Novak movie next. I think after 679 episodes,